Sidney Powell is with us, licensed to lie, big bestseller. She exposed all the prosecutorial abuse of the likes of Andrew Weissman long before the Mueller, fiasco, which we now know was predicated on a premeditated fraud and a phony dossier. And the word is by somebody that the FBI had known to be, in terms of the subsource, a Russian operative for over a decade. Details tonight. But in the meantime, Sidney Powell joins us. Sidney, I've been hearing all day about these rumors, about, more evidence in the Flynn case that is exculpatory, including texts and emails. Can you shed some light on it?
Yes, we've just received 40 pages late last night that include handwritten notes of Peter Strzok, handwritten notes of former Deputy Director Andy McCabe, internal text messages between FBI analysts who worked on the Flynn matter, and additional text messages between Strzok and Page that just are mind-blowing in how they evidence outrageous, deliberate misconduct by the FBI and the DOJ playing games with the life of General Flynn, a national hero. I mean, they say things like they were preferred the known quantity of a Clinton presidency instead of the wild card like President Trump was. They were deliberately shutting down the investigation of General Flynn as of November 8th, we know now. And one agent said he was so glad they were closing it. Somebody was silent about it, so they didn't know what he wanted. We're wondering if that was Andy McCabe because they still have things redacted. That would be important. Another agent said they knew exactly how bad things were. I'm telling you, man, if this thing ever gets FOIA'd, we're going to have some tough questions asked. They even were so concerned about it, a bunch of them went out and got professional liability insurance to cover their misconduct. And it shows that they issued or requested national security letters to get General Flynn's financial information simply as a ruse to get more time to keep the investigation against him open.
Whoa. Doesn't the insurance basically prove premeditation on their part?
I would think so. They certainly knew that what they were doing was definitely wrong. I mean, they acknowledged that. They even acknowledged that it wasn't even a logical investigative next step to get Flynn's financial records in December of 2016. They knew his relationship with Putin was absolutely in the open. It's just one thing after the other. And they even say if we're concerned about sensitivity or leaks, we might not want to send national security letters that we don't really intend on using. It makes no sense.
I listen to this and, Sidney, we got an election in 40 days and you've got every institution against this president. I mean, the force of the mob and the media, the Democratic Party. I mean, Kamala Harris, beware. This is not going to stop, referring to what's going on in big cities all around the country, what we watched unfold in Louisville last night. And I'm watching and I'm listening to defund the police. I'm watching people in Congress. 29 times in election years, there's been Supreme Court justice vacancies, all 29 times. The duly elected president would appoint a successor. And to hear the Democrats threaten to end the legislative filibuster, pack the courts, try and eliminate the electoral college. We can impeach Trump every day of the week if we want, Nancy Pelosi. And I'm like, what has happened to this country? Then the abuse of power. What has happened? 4 years of General Flynn's life has been ruined. And the evidence is overwhelming and incontrovertible that this was a conspiracy to destroy an innocent man. And they're even acknowledging it now.
And they briefed President Obama on it, too. There's more discussion of the January 5th, 2017 briefing of Obama.
What does that say?
And how people were scrambling for information to support certain things, and it's a madhouse. Trump was right. It's still not put together. Why do we do this to ourselves? What is wrong with these people?
So, I mean, at what point, Emmett Sullivan is the judge in this case. He seems heavily vested now in the interests of the deep state. Not sure exactly why. I have my suspicions, but I don't know why. And you actually praised him in your book, License to Lie, as it relates to his handling of the Ted Stevens case. By that time, Ted's career had already been ruined and he was gone. And, I'm trying to understand, how did they justify this? Why are we only finding this 40 days before the next election? Why didn't we find this 3 years ago?
Because the FBI has been hiding it. I think the FBI has fought to keep it classified tooth and nail, and apparently is still fighting, because I understand there's more to come. And of course I know that there is, because I still know there are things out there that are exculpatory that we don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah, the FBI.
What about, why is Director Wray so reluctant? Why is Director Wray so reluctant and resistant to do his job, Sidney? Because I've had it.
Yeah, I've beyond had it. The behavior of suppressing this evidence that is completely exculpatory of General Flynn and inculpatory of the people who framed him is itself obstruction of justice, and it's flipping appalling.
I don't know what to say. I mean, words now escape me, which is kind of impossible for me, Sidney. I mean, this man's life has been ruined. Others' lives have been ruined. Those that we have overwhelming, incontrovertible evidence on, premeditated fraud on a FISA court. We're going to get into some great details tonight. Apparently that subsource that the FBI interviewed of Christopher Steele, they knew to be over a decade a Russian agent. We see Hunter Biden's connections to Russian oligarchs, transfers of money and sums of money to, Ukrainians and Russians and deep financial ties to China, all while his father is VP and he's making millions. And yet the media barely bats an eyelash. And if it was Donald Trump, you and I both know what would happen.
Yes, and we now know that McCabe went to brief the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence at 5:15 on May 10, 2017, and they were trying very hard to pin something on Flynn. His notes show Flynn open, nothing, new line, closed, everything, next line, blackmail, theoretically possible, not the strongest theory.
I'm just, at this point, you begin to flood the zone on these issues, Sidney, and you know what I mean by that. And that is that, we're now, so close to an election. And I'll be honest, Director Wray has not done the country a service here. He's not shown the urgency needed to restore integrity to the greatest law enforcement agency and intelligence agencies on the face of the earth, and to get justice for innocent people. That is frustrating. I find Durham and painfully slow when the evidence to indict on some issues has been there forever. And now we're in a position, well, if he does anything at this point, it's going to be viewed as political. Or it's not going to be covered, like Ron Johnson's, blockbuster developments yesterday. If this was the Trump kids, New York Times, ABC, NBC, CBS, fake news, cable channels, they'd be all over it. They're not.
Oh, they'd already be in prison.
A great point.
They would already be in prison.
All right. Well, thanks for all you're doing. Please send our best. Eventually he will be free, but it's taken way too long. It's sad. It shouldn't happen. This is the United States of America. It's happening here. 800-941-SEAN if you want to be a part of the program. All right, let's get to our phones here.